Yo, people, what's good? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are in the world. It's nearly 10 past 1 in the UK, but I don't know what time it is elsewhere. I see a couple of people from South Africa in the comments already. So big up to you guys for tuning in all the way from SA. I just hope my internet will hold up. I'm checking my phone just to make sure it does. I think it is at the moment. Let me know if it doesn't though. Yeah, sorry apparently for canceling yesterday's stream as well because I just thought it was just a bit redundant. Basically talking about the post match yesterday and then talking about Nagelsmann and stuff today. I guess you could just combine the two because there's no way I can talk about yesterday's result without talking about the Conference League. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, it just made sense, man. Big up as well from Australia. Big up Josh from Bristol. Yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm not sure if anyone's realized as well, but I feel like my camera. I'm not sure if you noticed, but my camera is a little bit better. So I finally got my new laptop as well. So yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm feeling myself, but I'm just glad that I ain't having to do my streams off my work laptop anymore because that was getting tedious as hell, man. But yeah, for those who are locked in, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Even people, Samuel from Melbourne, big up, man. Big up, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys and your views and your subscriber ship. I think is that a word? Just your subscription to my channel. I don't know. I'm just botching this. I'm just chatting crap. But yeah, thank you for anyway for tuning in. Okay. Sorry, let me get some water. You know, you have to clear the throat pause before having to talk about such an annoying team. When I'm saying I upgraded to 360p, allow me, man. That's the internet, man. That's the internet. Allow me. Cape Town, South Africa, amazing. I actually want to go to South Africa. You know, I want to go to South Africa badly. But yeah, let's actually talk about Spurs. So obviously Tottenham won 1-0 yesterday. I must admit, I was hoping and expecting that there would be more goals. I was expecting that like the likes of Son would continue his recent goal scoring form, especially with the record he has against Crystal Palace. But no, yesterday was a landmark for another person, man. Harry Kane. Harry Kane has now gone second in the Premier League all-time top goal scorers list. So he's now surpassed Wayne Rooney, and he's done it in like 120 odd games less, right? An amazing feat. And I'm not sure if people remember. Maybe it was on here, maybe it was on Touchline, but I said at the start of the season before a ball was kicked that if Harry Kane stays fit, he's breaking Wayne Rooney's record. And lo and behold, the guy hasn't been injured for pretty much the whole season. And 26 league goals in what, like 30, I don't know, 35 appearances? He's on course to hit 30 Premier League goals. He just needs 4 goals from his last 3 games against Villa, against Brentford, and against Leeds. So that's a magnificent striker, man. Magnificent striker. And I feel like that and the defense were the only positives I can take away from the game because I don't actually think Harry Kane had that good a game. I think he just had a really good moment of quality. Same for Pedro Porro for the delivery. But yeah, I think the theme for this for me is just boring. It was a boring game, but the defense held up. That's our first clean sheet since February in the league. For a team that's been leaking goals, we got criticized for we got bashed when we switched to a back four at Newcastle. We got battered. We played a back four against Crystal Palace, and the defense was rock solid. I mean, we have to take it with a pinch of salt, obviously, because Crystal Palace, I mean, come on, you're up against who's the most threatening attacker? Zaha, fair. Jordan Ayew, nah. So I'm not going to get carried away. I'm really not going to get carried away. It's Crystal Palace. It's Crystal Palace. They're a team that they're one of the lowest scorers in the league anyway. I know they've been scoring as of late, but they're one of the lowest scorers in the league, and I think they were really poor on the day. I think they were really, really poor on the day. But we won, and the defense did well, man. And I have to say this straight off the bat, right? Emerson Royale and Ben Davies, there are only fullbacks right now that we can play a back four with. Genuinely, they are. Until we tweak the system for the more offensive-minded players like Pedro Porro, we can't really play that man at right back because you see the consequence. He simply cannot defend like Emerson. It's the same for Perisic. We can't play Perisic at left back because he simply cannot defend like Ben Davies. These guys, they're defend first type defenders. Pedro Porro, he's an attacking wing back. Perisic, he's an attacking wing back. I don't even think Emerson was good yesterday, right? I think he did well against Zaha because Zaha is not easy. And I mean, we've all got nightmares of what Zaha did to him last season. I was at that game. It was Emerson's debut, and Zaha tore the living daylights out of Emerson. We lost the game 3-0. Lost the game 3-0. Big up to Tyrone, Brooklyn as well. Man, well, the Big Six will be in New York in a couple of weeks, man. So come check us. But yeah, like Emerson, I don't even think he did anything spectacular. Like, I think this is just Emerson now. Like this is, and to be fair, this has been Emerson for most of his Spurs career. I rarely have negatives to say about Emerson defensively because I feel like for the most part, he goes about his business well. Not to say that he hasn't had poor games defensively, because he has. And I'm not trying to say that he's this amazing lockdown defender, but he's competent. He's competent, and he's one of the few players in our team, annoyingly, who are competent. Now, I don't like Emerson Royale. I've been wanting Spurs to sell Emerson Royale for the longest. I have. But with the way our defense is set up currently, my friends at New Spurs Order, Sai, Yao, even Tobs, like, they've convinced me, and Emerson has convinced me that, like, we actually can't afford to sell one of the few players in our team who can defend just because of the flexibility that it gives us on the formation, right? But I felt the whole defense played well. I'm only saying what I'm saying because I think that's within the context of a back four, because you can't really play a back four in this current team we have with Pedro Porro and Perisic. You can't. The midfield won't offer enough protection. The defense just isn't as organized. The attack doesn't really press from the front. Like, we don't, as an attack, we don't really put enough pressure. We don't really put enough pressure on the opposition from the front. So we don't really defend. I said this last week. We don't really defend from the front. Yeah, we don't really press teams in the midfield. We don't really engage. We leave our defense exposed, and then when the defense is exposed, we have men in isolation that just aren't good enough defensively, right? So for that reason and that reason only, with this current team we have now, the only way we can play back four is if we actually have defend first fullbacks like Emerson, like Davies. But for me, I thought Romero was the best defender on the pitch yesterday. He was excellent. Excellent. His passing, his distribution was really good. His defending was A1, right? Again, it's Crystal Palace. Got to take it with a pinch of salt. Have to take it with a pinch of salt. But Romero, fantastic game yesterday. Emerson, good game. Even Longley, good game. Ben Davies, defensively, good game. Offensively, poor. Very poor. But that goes without saying. Ben Davies is not a good technical footballer. That's just not his MO. But if you ask him to do the basics from a defensive point of view, he can do it. He can do it. So yesterday, aside from Kane hitting that milestone, the only praise I'm giving is to the defense, because I felt like the defense, they did their job. Crystal Palace, I get it. I've already emphasized how blunt their attack is on the best days, but they didn't create anything because we didn't really give them anything. Right? So yeah, not gonna milk it, not gonna over egg it, but the defense was good. However, outside of that, that was a pretty poor game of football. It was so boring. I was watching from home and I was bored. It was boring. We created all the clear-cut chances, but it's not to say like we created loads of chances. It's not to say like we had loads of attempts at goal. I was really disappointed in the midfield yesterday. It was so bad. Our centre backs were playing more progressive passes in our midfield. Skip was just. I like Skip. I think, as I said, my thoughts on Skip are clear. I think this guy's a decent player. I think he can be a good squad option for Spurs. Like, you have him in rotation. But this man cannot play in a two with Højbjerg. He just can't. If he's going to play, he has to play in a three-man midfield. And the two guys playing alongside him have to be much better on the ball. Now, I'm not going to come here and diss Skip like that because I felt like he was one of our best players against Liverpool last week. But this is just natural observation. Yeah. I'm not with this whole chat that Skip is so bad, etc., etc. He's not. He's not. And I think it's fair to say, and you can probably use this as an indication of where Spurs are, or use this as a way to praise him. But Skip has been one of the few players that has actually been fairly dependable when he's been called upon over the last year 1 to 2 years. He has. But yesterday he was poor. He was really poor. It has to be said. He was really bad. His distribution was pathetic. Even the things that he's actually good at, like dueling, winning 50-50s, putting pressure on the opposition. He didn't do any of that yesterday. It was really bad. It was really, really bad, man. That was a poor performance from Skip. Anyway, people, make sure you smash the like button as well. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Keep your post notifications turned on. But yeah, on Skip, he'll have better games, but I think yesterday speaks more to his limitations as opposed to him not being good enough. Like, there's a difference between the two. I think he is good enough to be a part of this squad. I don't think he's good enough to be a regular starter. There's a difference, right? And I think Spurs absolutely have to get better midfielders available who can actually play football. I get it. We've got Bentancur and Basuma injured, so they're big blows. They're big blows. But even when everyone is fit, I feel like Spurs are missing someone who actually wants the ball at all times and is willing to take control and boss games. Make those progressive passes. Just not good enough. We need better. Højbjerg, cowardly yesterday as well, playing the passes side to side, taking the ball off the centre backs and playing it back to them, playing it to the wing backs. Play the ball forward. Play the ball forward. Pedro Porro as well. I know he got the assist. I like Porro, what he can offer from an offensive standpoint, but I don't think he had a good game per se yesterday. I feel like he was a little bit wasteful with the amount of times he had the ball. Son, I don't know. I felt like he could have done better with that one chance, but again, it's one chance. Yeah, I don't think he had that great a game, but it was interesting, right? Seeing the shape yesterday it was refreshing. It was a 4-4-2. Obviously, the four at the back, the two in midfield, the two out wide, and then Kane and Richarlison up top. We've not actually really had the opportunity to see Kane and Richarlison play together. So, fair play to Mason for trying something new, right? Fair play. But yeah, just wasn't really a good performance. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not really gonna over egg my analysis here. I don't think we played well at all. I think we defended well, but with the ball at our feet, I don't think we were good enough at all. But I do think that we were good value for the 3 points because we created the much better openings, and of course we scored the goal that won us the game. So that is literally my analysis in a nutshell. But yeah, we need to do something about that midfield in the summer. Once Bentancur won't even be back until November, so it makes it all the more important, right? Basuma has to be a permanent fixture in the team next year, and it's looking like we need to get 1 to 2 midfielders. If we can get rid of Højbjerg in the summer and bring in at least one and go and switch to a 3-man midfield next year, then for all you know, you could have Skip, Basuma, and a Madison. You could have that. That could work until Bentancur's fit, or Sarr, Basuma, and a Madison, right? But we just need ballers. We need ballers, man who aren't scared of the ball in the middle of the park, man who want to take the ball, play in between the lines, and actually move that ball forward. That's what we need. That's what we need. Yeah, that's exactly what we need, in my opinion. But that's what I'm going to say on Crystal Palace. Clean sheet. We move. Props to Romero, props to Emerson, props to Longley, props to Davies, and props to Kane. Props to Kane breaking the record, man. It's going to be a shame when he leaves us. It really is. If and when he leaves us, because I still think there's a small chance. There's a small chance he could stay. I feel like ultimately it depends on whether the clubs who can afford Kane are willing to pay the money that you need to pay to get him out of Spurs with 1 year left in his contract. So for all you know, that can't happen, and Kane might have no options. But me personally, I think he's going. And it would be a damn shame to lose him. But I've been prepared for this. I've been saying this. I've been prepared for 2 years. It's going to hurt. There will be pain. But it is what it is now, man. If a man wants to leave and he's down to the last year of his contract, having done what he's done for the club, let him go. Let him go. Anyway. Yeah. That's it on Palace. Midfield needs sorting. Attack needs sorting, to be honest. Richarlison, I felt like he didn't have a good game, feeding off scraps. But we need to do something about our attack. We need to do something about us and our ability to actually squeeze teams higher up. I get what Mason was trying to do a little bit with Son and Porro out wide, trying to add an extra body to the press, right? Where we obviously playing 4 at the back. But I feel like fundamentally next season, I want to see a much more aggressive team. I really do. My biggest pet peeve with Spurs is we lack aggression off the ball. We really do. Romero is probably one of the only ones. Romero, Bentancur, Richarlison, maybe Kulusevski at times, Emerson. Like, these are the only men that are like super aggressive on the ball. We're just too tepid. We let the game just go past us sometimes, man. It's just, we need hungry work ethic throughout the team. We need hungry pressing throughout the team. We need to go back to being a team that suffocates sides. We've not been that side for years. And that was when we were at our best. That is the best type of football to play. That's the football that gets you the results. When you can squeeze teams, when you can put pressure on the opposition when you don't have the ball. That's what we need. Because yesterday, I know we won, but that ain't it. That midfield combination, I've been screaming for ages. I hate it. I really hate it. And I don't even hate Højbjerg. I've spoken on Skip, but I hate that midfield combination. I've never liked it. I think it's just, it's too like, it just, I feel like that midfield combo, it just stifles any sort of build up through central areas, because we just have guys in the middle of the park who just aren't that sharp when it comes to moving this ball at speed and constantly looking to play progressive passes. And the front line as well. I know Harry Kane bagged his 209th goal, but my guy, if you're playing as the top striker, front of the team, we ultimately need Kane to press. If we want to be an aggressive side, we need him to press, but he just can't press like he used to. He just can't. So whether he stays, whether he goes, Spurs need to do something about that in the summer because I'm tired. And I know we had more possession generally, but I just want to actually see Spurs go back to being a side that can put their foot on people's necks. That's what I need. We've got some players in our team that can help us play that way, like your Basumas, like your Richarlison's. As bad as he's been this season, he's someone that can help us transition into a style like that. Romero can, but we need it throughout the pitch. The very best teams in the league, they have that throughout the pitch. Man City have that throughout the pitch. All of their attackers press. They work their socks off. Their midfield work their socks off. Their defense works their socks off. They squeeze teams. They pen them in. Liverpool at their best did it. Even Arsenal, as much as I hate them now, their press is crazy. It suffocates you. How many teams are suffocated by Spurs when we're in when we don't have the ball? Not many. Not many. So it's definitely something that we need to work on next year. With Kane, without Højbjerg, without some of these players. Absolutely, we need to move some players on and we need to make some big decisions on our squad composition. But fundamentally, we need to return back to a team that are aggressive without the ball. Because that is the only way to actually improve our style of play and improve our defense. It's not just, just buying good defenders. Yeah, you can buy good defenders and it will probably save us on a couple of goals we conceded this season. But what will be the biggest difference is our entire team's attitude when we don't have the ball, not just the defense, the midfield, and the attack. Anyway, speaking of that, I know just the man who can help Spurs play that type of football. Julian Nagelsmann. I know it's funny you mentioned, Spurs are looking for someone who can actually coach a side to be aggressive without the ball. Hold my drink. Julian Nagelsmann. Spurs have a manager right there who, with the right players, because I need to stress this, with the right players, because right now we don't have, top to bottom, we don't have a squad that's capable of incorporating that aggressive press. We don't. Attack, midfield, defense. There are too many pieces dotted around that just can't play that way, right? But in order for our Spurs to transition to that way, they need a manager who can coach it well, and they need a structure in which the manager can get the additional players he needs on top of the players we have to coach that style of football. And Julian Nagelsmann, for me, fits the bill. Like, I've already given my thoughts on Pochettino. I think Pochettino fits that bill as well. But the club, for whatever reason, haven't even shortlisted Pochettino, which is a mistake in my opinion. Even if you don't hire him, I think he should be under consideration. But that's not to say Poch is the only solution. Nagelsmann is out there. He's interested in the job. He's a hungry young manager, right? Who has, he carries a relatively big name in Europe, but he has the personality of a project manager, right? This is a man who lives and breathes football. He studies this shit for a living. He's a maniac when it comes to football. His attention to detail is crazy. This is a man who actively wants to get down and dirty and make the clubs that he's at better. He cares. From a coaching element, he cares. He does. And he's a fine margins manager. He's always looking for that additional percent that can tip the scales in his favor. And that's the type of manager Spurs need. someone who has that attention to detail, that's willing to get their hands dirty and work. Not just a big name, but someone who actually is willing to put the work in. That's what Tottenham need. We need someone like Julian Nagelsmann. We need someone like Nagelsmann. Honestly, we do. Like, he's top contender. He's top contender. Like, the last time round when we sacked Jose Mourinho and had to wait 72 days to hire Nuno, right? There was a shortage of top managers that could have come to Spurs. That's not to say that Spurs couldn't have signed a better manager than Nuno. Absolutely, we could have, and we should have, right? But now, the pool of good managers is bigger and better than it was last time round. Like, there are managers like Nagelsmann that are available. Like, you've been given this golden opportunity, right? You have to do everything in your power to make it a reality. Now, when we read the stories about Nagelsmann, right? Let me even get some here. Julian Nagelsmann, right? Nagelsmann, right? I think it was Florian what's his name? Like Florian Plettenberg or something like that. So he said that Nagelsmann is extremely interested in Spurs. He said Nagelsmann is extremely interested in Spurs. And I think the main blockers are with the director of football, right? That's what we were hearing. The compensation and the director of football. Now, the compensation thing is a weird one to me because, like, that one, I just don't understand. Like, Bayern Munich have sacked him. Like, you've sacked him, right? You've put him on gardening leave, yet you're still paying his salary. It's in your best interests that he gets another job so you don't have to pay his salary. Why should the club that hired Nagelsmann have to pay compensation? Why? Why should that be the case? But anyway, even if it was the case, as I said, Spurs have to do what it takes. So that's one blocker. That's one blocker, right? So let me just share my screen with you. Okay, for some reason, screen share isn't on. No, it is working now. Share. Yeah. So it says German is Daniel Levy's main target, but Spurs have to pay Bayern more than £10 million. Do it. Do it. Nagelsmann remains the number one target of Chairman Daniel Levy, having already been approached over the job, but will not consider an offer until he knows who will be Tottenham's new director of football. The German was put on gardening leave by Bayern Munich, and Telegraph Sports understand that will still be the case at the end of the season. Yep. The compensation bill Bayern would be due for Nagelsmann could run past 10 million. I don't understand that though. And the 35-year-old was on a big salary, making him the most expensive option for. The thing is, he was on a big salary. Yes, I get it. But Spurs have been paying their managers bigger salaries. I read the reports. Nagelsmann was probably on what, like 10 million euros a year? That's a big salary in Germany. Yeah. But Pochettino was earning more than that at Spurs. Poch was earning more than that at Spurs. Conte and Jose were earning £15 million a year. They were getting paid more than the players. So, in my opinion, compensation should remuneration, his salary should not be an issue. Compensation should not be an issue. From a financial perspective, that should not be a blocker for Spurs, and I don't believe it will be. This is what will be the blocker for Spurs if they are to somehow screw the pooch on Nagelsmann. The director of football is key. It is absolutely key. And Spurs must grant Julian Nagelsmann what he needs. And I don't just say this for Nagelsmann, even though he's number one contender. This would be my energy for any manager that Spurs have, any manager. This would be my argument for any manager that Spurs has. You need to put the right structure in place for them to succeed. I was having a conversation with one of my mates, and he was basically, I remember when the article came out with Nagelsmann, rightly so, he was a bit apprehensive because he was like, why is Nagelsmann asking for X, Y, and Z? It screams to me like he's trying to make Spurs jump through hoops just to sign him. Why don't we go for Poch, who loves the club, etc., etc. And I can understand his concern genuinely, because the last two managers we've had, or two of the last three managers we've had, right, it was more of a vanity project. It was wrapped under the guise of ambition, but it was a vanity project to try and get the big names in, to appease the fans, whilst failing to do 100% of the work. Now, this applies more to Jose than it does to Conte, because I do think we spent heavily on the Conte, and Conte massively underperformed. But the point I'm making is, with Conte, you back him 100% or nothing. Or nothing. Right? With Jose Mourinho, he needed players, top players. We didn't give him enough. Right? When we were at our best, Pochettino had a good double act with the sporting director, Paul Mitchell. Right? But I said this to my friend and people as well. For those who are tuning in, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Keep your post notifications turned on. I said this to my friend, right, when he was saying, "Oh, we should go for someone who has that natural enthusiasm for the club, etc., etc." And I'm like, hang on a second, Julian Nagelsmann. So, for starters, my point is this: Florian. One sec, I'm going to find this guy's tweet. Plettenberg, Nagelsmann. Yeah. For starters, Florian Plettenberg reported that Julian Nagelsmann, yeah, here we go. Let me even share my screen. So he says this. He said this. One second. He tweeted this, right? And how many managers? And obviously, for those who keep their ears to the ground on German news, German football, I think Florian works for Sky, and my friends who are from Germany tell me that Sky Sports in Germany are fairly reliable, right? Now, I'm going to take that with a pinch of salt, as always. But Nagelsmann, he says his opinion of Spurs is big club, big potential. Bearing in mind, this is a guy who was managing at Bayern Munich, right? Spurs are a serious option for Nagelsmann. His opinion, big club, big potential. Now, I don't buy into this big club nonsense. I don't buy into this big club malarkey. I don't think Spurs are a big club personally. I don't think we win enough for a big club. And I don't think, even though our spending has increased, I don't think we spend enough to be considered a big club. However, you've got one of the most highly sought after managers with serious interest in you. And what are his terms? What are his terms? Because the compensation isn't his terms. That's Bayern's terms. Bayern are asking for the 10 million, right? His terms, I want to know who's going to be the director of football. How much power do I get in transfers? How much influence am I going to have in terms of the overarching football structure? How much influence am I going to have on academy players coming into the first team? How much influence am I going to have on Spurs letting go of certain players that don't fit my philosophy? How much influence am I going to have in terms of enticing players to come to the club? If I like a player, I say I want this player, and you've had talk to this player, and there's a 5 million difference. Are you going to pay that 5 million difference? I want a director of football who knows my needs and gets players that fit my style of football, not gets players that trying to fit square pegs in a round hole. Right? That's what he wants. That is what he wants. And I'm pretty sure I think this was a bit of an issue at Bayern. Because I feel like Salih Hamadish, or whatever his name is the sporting director there. And I think he fell out with who was Bayern's manager before Nagelsmann? Hansi Flick. I think he fell out with Hansi Flick. I can't remember what I read about Nagelsmann's relationship with him. But then obviously at RB, the RB network, you obviously had Ralph Ragnick, who was running the show there, right? So I don't think what Nagelsmann is asking for screams of entitlement, screams of a man who thinks he's above Spurs. This is sounding like a guy who wants to work at Spurs, but wants the right conditions to work at Spurs. He's not a fool. He's not a fool. And I think Spurs can expect to hear these demands for any manager that they approach, no matter how big or small, because that is how the best football clubs are run. That's how they work. Man City are the best club in the league, and Pep and Tixi Beristeran, or whatever his name is, they've been hand in hand for the last 7 years. Hand in hand. We've watched All or Nothing. They've been hand in hand. I hate Arsenal. I hate Arsenal. Right? But Arteta and Edu, they work hand in hand. Liverpool, Michael Edwards, Jurgen Klopp, they worked hand in hand. Yeah, Michael Edwards knew the type of players that Klopp needed for his style of play and got them. And lo and behold, Liverpool were successful. They were successful. It's how the very best do it. At a top level, at a mid level, at the lower level. It's how they do it. And this is a part of football that Spurs have struggled in. As long as I've been following Spurs intensely, we've struggled. Because whenever we have good moments in this area, it's always fleeting. It's never consistent. It's never consistent. Why? Because we have the likes of Levy, who thinks he wants to be ultra controlling, ultra hands-on, even though you are not the expert in this area of work. You're not. You're not the expert. So like I was saying to my friend, when he thought, oh yeah, maybe it's a case of Nagelsmann seeing this as another vanity project where he can earn a paycheck. No. As I said, every single manager that Spurs speak to, they will ask for this. Even Pochettino. I love Poch. I love Poch. And Poch definitely loves Spurs. And I believe that if Spurs were to come in for Pochettino now, he would definitely weigh up that option versus Chelsea and would side with Spurs. However, Poch is not coming back to Tottenham if he doesn't get these same assurances. You think Pochettino wants to come back to Spurs with no director of football? With no idea how to link the academy and first team? With no idea on the approach on transfer strategy? With no idea on the attitude to selling players? With no idea on the attitude to giving players new contracts? Right? With no idea on signing a specific profile player to fit the manager's needs? Do you think Pochettino is coming back to Spurs without all of these things in place? If you think that, then you're bluffing. Impossible. Impossible. The mess that Spurs have put themselves in this season has been laid out bare for every manager. For Nagelsmann, for Poch, for Amorim, for De Zerbi, for all of them. For all of them. So, Spurs, it's not just these managers interviewing for the jobs. Spurs have to pitch this job to these managers. Tell these managers what you're going to put in place for them to be the best they can be, for them to do their job to the best of their ability. That is the position we're in now. And when you've got someone like Julian Nagelsmann, you have to do that. You have to sell that project to him. The same way he has to sell his services to Spurs, you have to sell that project to him. Why should he pick you? What are you going to give to him to ensure that he can influence this club in the best way possible? Right? And this is where people who don't understand the dynamics of Enoch are flawed in their arguments. Oh, Enoch have been a net positive on Spurs. They have from a business perspective. They have, absolutely. But from a footballing perspective, they've been toxic the last couple of years and they need to go. They're not good enough. They are not fit for purpose. They're not. Smash the like button, people, man. We're talking football here, man. Let's talk. My title of the stream was Spurs must grant Julian Nagelsmann's assurances. We have to satisfy his every demand. Pause. And it would be the same for Poch. Not just saying it for Julian Nagelsmann. It would be the same for Poch. It would be the same for De Zerbi. It would be the same for Amrin. The good coaches that are out there that hold an interest in Spurs, Spurs will have to put the necessary infrastructure in place for them to do the best they can do. It's not rocket science. You can't keep half-assing. You can't keep shortchanging these good managers. We can't keep doing this. We cannot keep doing this. Eventually, we're going to need to actually evolve as a club. Otherwise, we're just going to keep getting the same results. And I want to give... The thing is, it's not even to say that like Spurs haven't tried. We brought in a director of football with Paratici who actually worked with Conte. That one failed because Conte down tools in the second season, and Paratici was just trying to make some nonsense decisions like hiring Stellini as the second as the manager for the rest of the season, linking Spurs with Nuno and Gattuso and all these guys. Man, he tried it. It failed. Don't give up. Now you have to try again with a better director of football and a manager who actively wants to be at Spurs and work, because that wasn't something you could say about Conte this season. Nagelsmann is right there. Like, he's right there in a sea of dross in what has been a really miserable season for Spurs. You have literally been handed a chest of gold at the end of your season. Genuinely been handed a chest of gold. Yeah? You know, like them games that you play where like you're on red. Your body's on red and you get like a health pack and it just puts you on green like COD. Bruv, we are on red. We're literally in the red zone. We're in the red zone. And we have been gifted this flipping life package, bro, that can actually propel Spurs, not straight away, but with the right infrastructure behind the scenes, with the right decisions being made, with the right squad personnel, he can get Spurs back to being a good side. Bro, we need to move heaven and earth to get this guy in and put the right pieces and people around him, both on the field and off the field. If we do that, then we won't have to look at Spurs and speak about Spurs with such disgust. I'm so confident that if Spurs bring this guy in and get the right pieces around him, we will be a good side again. It's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer. There's a major ceiling with this guy. There is. And I get it. He is a bit of a hipster. He's a bit of a nerd. But there's a big ceiling with this guy. And he's young enough that you can actually build for the long term. He's not just going to skate in 2 years' time. He's all about building a project. Yeah? Because we're in red. We are in red. We're in the pits. We are mudded. We play crap football. A lot of our players are not good enough. We have a chairman who's so hands-on, who doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Our director of football has been banned from working for a good, or our former director of football banned from working for the last 2 years. The manager that we sacked, we hired his number two, whose only other previous experience of managerial work was a Serie B team years back. We're a mess. We're a mess, and we're going to need a serious manager. And when I say serious, I don't just mean CV. I mean serious in terms of his work ethic to come and fix this mess. Man United were in a similar situation last season, and whilst I don't think they're back in terms of being like a top club, i.e., challenging for the major honours, Champions League, obviously, in Premier League. They're back in terms of being a competitive top four side, which is something you couldn't have said about Man United last year. And what has been the biggest difference? Sure, of course, they spent big money. They spent 250 million. You expect a return on your investment. But they also lost players in the summer. They lost a lot of players in the summer. They lost Paul Pogba in a free transfer. I did not tip Man United for top four. Ten Hag has come in and he steadied the ship. They're not perfect. They don't play amazing football week in, week out. They still concede a fair share of goals. They don't score loads of goals. They don't win loads of games. But there's a clear upward trajectory with Ten Hag as the manager. And there's steps. He's building steps that they can use to get better and better and better. Spurs need their Ten Hag. We need our Ten Hag. Yeah, we are a mess. We need our new Pochettino. That's what we need. That's what we need. This is the guy, man. This is the guy. If you don't get him, again, it's not the end of the world because there are good managers out there, but it's disappointing when you've got such a golden opportunity and there's genuine interest in him. He's asking for a director of football. I saw you were linked with that Pause guy, Johan Pause or Spores. I think the guy who he worked with at Hoffenheim, right? Just be sensible. I saw a link a couple of weeks back that we were linked to Monchi, Sevilla's DOF, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. Mate, there are good directors of football out there. What Julian Nagelsmann is asking for isn't impossible. I don't see why it should be a stumbling block. I don't see why there should be any doubt. If he says, get a director of footballing, you should do that. Not just because he says so, but because it's the right thing to do. Because he and every other manager who you're targeting will want the same thing. They will all want this. The director of football, yes, it may satisfy his demands, but fundamentally, it is the right thing to do. It is. It really is. And when we get to that director of footballing, Daniel Levy, don't stifle him. Don't stifle him. God, we need Enoch out, man. Honestly, we actually need Enoch the hell out of here, man. Get rid of these guys because they're just, they're so incompetent, man. Levy, just get rid of them. Honestly, get rid of them. Get rid. Oh. Life would be so much better if we actually had a better ownership. Just get rid of these guys, honestly. The fact that they can be the biggest stumbling block in getting someone like Julian Nagelsmann tells you everything you need to know. How does that even make sense? They're the custodians of the club. They're meant to be the ones to make the club better. How can they be one of the biggest stumbling blocks for Spurs getting a manager like Nagelsmann? It's crazy. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Big up Diallo for the super chat. He says, Tobs, Isak or Jesus, arguing my friends. You'd have to go with Isak. You'd have to go with Isak. Because he's looking like the one who can actually put the ball in the back of the net. The guy's got 10 goals in 17 games. And he offers the same out the box quality that Jesus does. The link play, the dribbling. Yeah. You'd have to go with Isak. Why wouldn't you go with Isak? He's the one that's bagging the goals. He's the one that's bagging the goals. Right? Jesus has been leading the line for Arsenal, and he's a 1 and 2 guy with all the chances he's getting. He should be 2 and 3. He should be 2 and 3. 1 and 2 is not good enough, in my opinion, when you're leading the line at Arsenal, no matter what link play you're offering, etc., etc. I like Jesus. I think he's a baller. I wanted him at Spurs. I think Jesus is cold. One of the best strikers in the Premier League, yes. But as a striker, he's not good enough as a finisher. Yeah? He's not good enough as a finisher. Misses too many chances. And it's always been the case for Jesus. I remember I did the video of Potts and Lee. That was my target for Jesus. I said, bro, you got to come to Arsenal. You got to be hitting 15 to 17 league goals minimum. You have to. Player of your quality, with the amount of chances that you're going to get, you got to be. You've got to be. But I still think he's been good for Arsenal. He's been really good for Arsenal this year, but he's just not clinical. So yeah, I'm picking Isak. But thanks for the super chat. But yeah, back on Spurs. Back on Spurs. And also people as well. Smash the like button, folks, please. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't subscribed yet. Right? I'm on the road to 15K. Yeah. Keep the post notifications turned on. Yeah. Subscribe to the channel. Smash the likes. Yeah, we continue. You like my campaign speech for Nagelsmann? We need to get him in. We need to get him in. We need to get him in. Yeah. We need to get that brother in. Anyway. Yeah, that's Julian. Now I'm going to finish off with my chat on the Europa Conference League. Because obviously Aston Villa lost yesterday. Spurs won, which means we are currently in 6th. But if results go the way I think they're going to go over the next 3 weeks, I can see one of Aston Villa or Brighton finishing above us. And that is not going to be good because we will be in the Europa Conference League. And anyone who knows me knows I don't like this competition. I don't like this competition. I'm sorry. It's the same attitude I have. The same attitude I have now is the same attitude I had when we qualified for it last year. I don't want it, but if we're in it, may as well win it. But I don't want it. I don't want Spurs in this competition. If it's not Europa League, I would much rather we finish 8th and have no Europe and go again next year, 1 game a week. That's what I would like. In order for Spurs to do that, though, the teams are going to need to leapfrog us. Because ideally, what I want this summer is I want a manager like Nagelsmann to come in, director of football to come in, for Spurs to get rid of around 8 to 10 players, including the ones out on loan. So it's not just including the ones out on loan. We need to get rid of 8 to 10. The squad is too big. We've got like 3 right backs, like 3 or 4 left backs, 6 or 7 like centre backs, like what is it, like 7 midfielders. How many of these guys are good enough to be starting week in, week out? Not many. Not many. So we need to cull this team. And whilst the Europa Conference League presents an opportunity to give the likes of Pape Matar more game time, the likes of Skip more game time, the likes of the young G's that Spurs are at risk of losing, like your Mundles and so on and so forth, right? Giving the academy man more game time. It's a slog. It's a slog. Thursday, Sunday schedule is not easy from start to finish. It's not easy. It's not easy. It takes a toll on your squad. It really does, right? And the caliber of teams you're playing is not good enough. And the reward is not good enough. You win it, yes, you get a European trophy, fab. But your reward for winning is you qualify for the UEFA Cup. Europa League? Nah, man. I don't want it. Genuinely. I would much rather finish sixth, get Europa League, which is more prize money, playing against better sides, much more reputable competition to win, right? Even if it takes the toll on your season. Yeah. Or you have no Europe because Champions League is a myth. Spurs are not finishing in the top four. That's dead. It's not happening. But the Conference League sucks. I'm not changing my energy in this one. I've said this to Lawless all season. The Conference League sucks. And people say, oh no, where'd you get off? You're a Spurs fan. You take anything, you take anything, you take anything. Yeah, I'm desperate for a trophy, which is why I said if we're in it, yeah, of course, go and win it. I wouldn't want Spurs to not win it if we qualified, but I don't think this is something that is worth qualifying for. I don't. Genuinely don't. Yeah. Tottenham's fortunes would not be transformed by winning the Conference League. It wouldn't be. So that's me. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to be playing Graffiti FC and Larkana United. I don't. As fun as some of those away days might be, I don't want to be playing these sides. I don't want to see Spurs playing these sides. You think I want Harry Kane racking up if he stays? Let's use a different player. You think I want the likes of Kulusevski, Basuma, Romero racking up minutes playing these men when we have much tougher fixtures in the Premier League? You think I want that? Dead. Nah, bro. There's not even a Super Cup for the Conference League. There's not even a Super Cup for the Conference League. Thing is dead. It is dead. I'm sorry, it's dead. The cup was literally designed for all the scrubs dotted around the flipping Europa League and the Champions League. The guys who are nowhere near good enough to be in those comps but want to play in Europe. That's what it was made for. Nah, bro. And I'm not saying this to say that Spurs are better than that, because Spurs are crap. But I just don't want that toll on our season for the caliber of teams we're playing. The reward doesn't really match the risk that Spurs would have. Not for me. Not for me. I don't want it. Don't care what you call me. I don't want to be in that competition. Don't want it. But anyway, people, that's me, man. That's me. That's what I wanted to say. Get Julian Nagelsmann in. Okay win against Crystal Palace, but we didn't play well. Defense, big up. You did your thing. Ryan Mason, never ever play Lucas Moura again in your life. I'm glad to see that he didn't come on against Crystal Palace. Still don't want Mason permanently. Nope. Good mentality. I like the way he speaks. I like his confidence. But you got to earn your chops, as I've said. If the next manager that comes in wants Mason to be part of the coaching setup, fine. I've warmed to that because that's their decision. It's their prerogative. And I don't actually hate Ryan Mason as a person. I just hate that Spurs have him as this fallback option when he's done nothing to warrant that. He needs to earn his keep. He needs to earn that experience. But anyway, fair play to Ryan Mason. I'm not going to criticize you today. Yeah. Next manager comes in. If he wants to keep him, calm. If he doesn't, off you pop. Go get your XP. But yeah, people. Yeah. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button. All of that good stuff. But before I go, I just want to talk on this, bro. So you said you love my content, but this is some of the most deluded stuff. Where do you Spurs get off? Again, I have to stress, I literally said this isn't a case of Spurs thinking we're better than this competition. This competition is categorically not good. I don't think Spurs are better than some of these sides. Spurs are literally crap. I berate Spurs every single stream. I don't think we're good. We're not a good team. But why do I want the exhaustion of the Sunday, Thursday schedule for what? For less money, lesser quality sides. Why does that think that Spurs are better off winning? Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, man. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion, bro. But I don't see how you can have that opinion after everything I've said, after the negatives of being in this competition. Just don't understand it. But anyway, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, bro. Enjoy your Sunday. People, enjoy your Sundays. Those in the UK, enjoy your bank holidays. Those in America, South Africa, Bristol, Australia, West Indies, enjoy your weekends, people. Bless up. I'm out. Take care. Enoch out. And yeah, smash the like button.